Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you are doing well. Today we are going to discuss the types of muscle contraction. So basically in skeletal muscles there are two types of contraction. The first one is isotonic contraction and the second one is isometric contraction. Isotonic contraction is further divided into two types: concentric contraction and eccentric contraction. First, let's see the isometric contraction. Isometric contraction is basically type of contraction in which muscle is contracting but there is no length change and eventually there is no movement produced. Or in other words, we can say that muscle is prevented from shortening and the tension develops but at constant muscle length. Means the length is not changing but the tension is developing due to the contraction of muscle. That's why isometric contraction is also called holding of position. The best example of isometric contraction is a person doing a push-ups. On the other hand, the isotonic contraction is a type of contraction in which the muscle is contracting and the length of the muscle is changing and at the same time the movement is produced. This change in length of the muscle is the reason for the concentric or eccentric contraction of muscle. Like concentric contraction usually happens when the muscle shortens and the eccentric contraction happens when the muscle lengthens. In both these situations there is a change in length of the muscle and that's why it's called an isotonic contraction of muscle. Either it's a concentric or eccentric. Here in this picture you can clearly see the isometric and the concentric contraction. The person is holding a dumbbell and the bicep muscle is isometrically contracting, means there is no movement is producing. While in figure B you can clearly see again the bicep muscle is contracting, but this time along with the contraction of bicep muscle there is a further movement producing in the form of flexion of elbow. So this is a clear differentiation between the isometric contraction and the concentric contraction in a single example. Along with movement or without movement you can clearly identify. So that's brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.